Up until this day, there are things I saw in the Puffy camp that I honestly cannot speak about. I know people have been saying things, funny things. I just don't want to speak on that. All I can say is, at the right time, the truth will be out. Let's leave it at that.
The courtroom drama that had gripped the world for weeks took a sharp and unexpected turn when Sean Diddy Combs, one of hip-hop's most powerful and enigmatic figures, reportedly confessed to a series of allegations during closed-door proceedings. Though the details remain shrouded in legal confidentiality, insiders claim that Diddy admitted to long-standing patterns of abuse, manipulation, and exploitation, not only against Cassie but also against others within his orbit. The confession, described by multiple sources as raw, emotional, and damning, has sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and beyond, forcing fans, critics, and fellow celebrities to reevaluate decades of relationships, collaborations, and legacies built around Diddy's influence. What makes this moment even more seismic is the ripple effect it has had on the careers and reputations of those who were once closely associated with him, particularly Usher and the late Aaron Carter. Both artists shared significant professional ties with Diddy during their formative years, and now, in the wake of his alleged confession, the public is revisiting their roles in the broader narrative of power, control, and silence that has come to define this era of music history. For Usher, whose career was launched under Diddy's Bad Boy Records, the timing could not be more precarious. As he prepares for a major comeback performance at the Super Bowl, questions about his past associations and any potential knowledge of misconduct have resurfaced with renewed intensity. Meanwhile, Aaron Carter, who passed away in 2022, leaves behind a complicated legacy that now includes speculation about how his relationship with Diddy may have influenced his personal struggles and eventual downfall. The fallout from Diddy's confession has been swift and unrelenting. Legal teams are scrambling to assess the implications, while media outlets race to uncover hidden connections between the mogul and other high-profile names. Fans, too, are caught in a whirlwind of emotion, some expressing support for survivors and calling for accountability, while others mourn the loss of an era they once romanticized. In the age of #MeToo and increased scrutiny over historical abuse, the revelations surrounding Diddy have become a cultural reckoning, forcing the industry to confront uncomfortable truths about mentorship, exploitation, and the cost of fame. For Usher, the timing of these revelations couldn't be more sensitive. Long seen as one of R&B's most respected voices, he has spent the last 2 decades carefully crafting an image of stability, maturity, and artistic excellence. His upcoming Super Bowl halftime show is expected to be a defining moment in his career, a triumphant return to center stage after years of maintaining a quieter presence in the industry. But as news of Diddy's alleged confession spreads, so too does the scrutiny over Usher's early years under the Bad Boy umbrella. Did he witness anything? Was he aware of the darker side of the man who helped launch his career? And if so, why didn't he speak out? These questions have sparked heated debates across social media, where Usher's supporters argue that he should not be held responsible for the actions of someone else, especially given that he was a teenager when he first signed with Bad Boy. Others, however, point to a pattern of silence among artists who benefited from Diddy's influence without publicly addressing concerns about his behavior. Some critics have gone so far as to call for Usher's Super Bowl performance to be canceled, arguing that it would be inappropriate to celebrate an artist tied to such a toxic legacy. While the NFL has not responded to these calls, the pressure continues to mount. Meanwhile, Aaron Carter's name has resurfaced in a different context, one that is both painful and illuminating. Though Carter struggled publicly with addiction, mental health issues, and family turmoil, many are now reconsidering whether his relationship with Diddy played a role in his decline. Reports suggest that Carter briefly worked with Diddy in the early 2000s, and though no direct allegations have been made against Diddy regarding Carter, the broader conversation about grooming, influence, and emotional manipulation has led to renewed interest in Carter's story. His death, ruled accidental drowning due to respiratory depression caused by multiple substances, has taken on new meaning in light of recent disclosures about Diddy's behavior toward younger artists. In interviews before his passing, Aaron Carter spoke candidly about the pressures of growing up in the spotlight and the toll it took on his mental health. He described feeling used by the industry, manipulated by people who saw him as a commodity rather than a person. Now, with Diddy's alleged confession adding fuel to the fire, some are drawing parallels between Carter's experiences and the larger pattern of exploitation that appears to have defined Diddy's inner circle. While it remains unclear whether Diddy directly contributed to Carter's struggles, the renewed attention has prompted fans and analysts alike to reassess the singer's life and career through a more critical lens. The music industry, long known for its glamorous facade and ruthless backstage realities, is now facing yet another reckoning. What was once whispered in dressing rooms and backstage corridors is now being shouted into the public sphere, demanding answers and action. Artists, executives, and journalists are being forced to reckon with their own complicity, or lack thereof, in allowing abusive systems to persist unchecked. Even those who never worked directly with Diddy are finding themselves questioned about their silence, their awareness, and their responsibility. At the heart of this controversy lies a fundamental question: what do we do with legacy when the truth comes out? How do we reconcile admiration for an artist's work with horror at their actions off stage? These are not easy questions to answer, but they are necessary ones. As more survivors come forward and more evidence surfaces, the industry must decide whether it will continue to protect the powerful or finally prioritize the vulnerable. Usher, for his part, has remained silent in the immediate aftermath of the revelations. His representatives have issued brief statements acknowledging the seriousness of the situation, but stopping short of condemning or supporting any specific claims. This measured approach may be strategic, giving his team time to assess the legal and reputational risks involved. Still, many feel that a stronger stance is needed, not just for his own credibility, but for the sake of those who have suffered in silence for years. As for Aaron Carter, his voice lives on through his music, but his legacy is now being shaped by forces beyond his control. Whether he is remembered as a victim of circumstance or simply another casualty of fame remains to be seen. What is certain, however, is that his story, like so many others, deserves to be told with honesty, empathy, and a commitment to learning from the past. The aftermath of Diddy's alleged confession is still unfolding, and its full impact may not be clear for months or even years. But already, it has altered the way we see the music industry, its stars, and the systems that allowed abuse to thrive for so long. It has forced difficult conversations about accountability, redemption, and the cost of loyalty. And perhaps most importantly, it has reminded us all that no amount of fame or fortune can erase the truth, no matter how long it takes to surface. As the world watches to see what happens next, one thing is clear: the era of silence is ending. Survivors are speaking. Witnesses are coming forward, and the entertainment industry, for all its glitz and glamour, is being forced to confront the darkness that has lurked beneath the spotlight for far too long. Whether Usher, Aaron Carter, or anyone else connected to Diddy emerges from this unscathed remains uncertain, but one thing is undeniable: nothing will ever be the same again.